What's up, guys? Just wanted to say this before we get started. If you're looking to get into the GMC giveaway, there is 95% of our inventory is gone. So if you're looking to get in, we only have a little bit of stuff left. It's probably going to end tonight. If you're looking to get in, this is your last chance. It is a really badass truck, and it's hopefully going to go to somebody that really loves it and is going to drive the shit out of it. So if you're looking to get in, we've still got a few Kilo shirts on the website. We've got the Never Lift shirts, some hats, and yeah, this is probably the last night to get in if you're looking to get in. So don't miss out. Appreciate it.
Oh God, this podcast was supposed to start 3 hours ago. Actually, yeah, 3 hours ago.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my God. June hit the camera. Oh, my God. We're never going to start this podcast. She turned it. No, I'm not in the camera anymore. Never gonna start this.
Never gonna stop now, never gonna stop.
Lynn's just chilling.
Yeah, why is that there? He's gonna knock that off.
You're so aggressive.
That's fine.
Are we ready?
Yes, I think we're ready.
Holy
Everything's
Santa Claus shit.
Recording.
All right, guys, welcome back to another edition of the Word on the Streets podcast. We are here. We've been setting up this podcast for about 3.5, 4 hours. Tommy has just had like 3 mental breakdowns already.
Everything's fine.
Allison is trying to keep him calm, but it's just not working.
No.
We started this in the merch side of the shop, and then we've since moved it to the work side of the shop.
It's just dark and dingy over there.
It's too dark in there. We need to invest in some better lighting and maybe some more props. You know what it kind of looks like over there? It looks like I don't know. It doesn't look like an old gas station right now. It just looks like
It looks like a movie prop.
yeah, it's like weird.
It's like somebody collected movie props from an old Western movie, and it's just like.
It reminds me of the Big Bad Wolf. Like you got the brick house, and you got the door.
You should put a wolf or a pig in the window.
Yeah, it reminds me of that.
We just need a straw house now. It's weird. Anyways.
So you feeling better, Tommy?
Yeah.
Are we ready to start
this?
this?
Look, it's really complicated. Once you start adding all these cameras, you're trying to get everything matched up.
He wanted to do one angle, and I'm like, no, that's so lame. Like, you're like, nobody watches. I'm like, yeah, people watch it. They want to see your pretty face.
So make sure if you're in the comments and you like multiple angles, make sure you let Tommy know.
Multiple angles is where it's at.
I understand it's better. I just don't
more
have
editing.
The equipment. Like, we're throwing together tripods, and I don't really have cameras set up that record. Like, we got to stop every 30 minutes because the camera can't record for longer than that. It's just a pain.
It's all right.
Everything's
it's all
fine.
good.
It's
We'll
all good.
figure
All
it
right.
out. I got a timer.
So let's get into it. So we just got back from the all-wheel drive versus rear-wheel drive Cleetus McFarland shootout. And we're going to discuss some topics. It's a lot of things flying around Facebook we're going to discuss. I got a lot of topics written down right here, and we're going to go through them and discuss some opinions.
First off, did everybody have fun? Was it a good time?
Yeah.
I think it was a good time.
I don't regret going.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
Definitely don't regret
It could have
going.
been better if we'd done better, but
I think
I'm looking forward to the next one more. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
I think it should be a night race under the lights, and they should allow some spectators just to add some kind of vibe. Maybe don't allow them to go into the pits, but keep them separate so that it's not like a cluster in the pits, but maybe let them somehow be able to watch,
It's definitely a different feeling with no spectators there. There's nobody on the starting line. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of loses the normal no prep vibe that we usually have.
You could sell like a limited amount of tickets for that event, and you'd sell out in minutes.
100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, a lot of people were asking, too, like, why not put it on Freedom Plus? Like, Cleetus' fans were going, they're pissed. They're like, why can't we watch this live?
Well, I think it's something that he definitely started with his buddies just to mess around with.
Right, it wasn't supposed to be,
But now there's so much interest in it. It's like the number one thing everybody's talking about. And rightfully so. I mean, you got the best racers in the country all congregating to one spot and trying to see who's fastest.
If it was just rear-wheel drive racing, it would have been it was pretty much the biggest race of the year. Like, one of the biggest races, but if it was just rear-wheel drive, that would have been the craziest rear-wheel drive race of the year for us.
And honestly, like, I didn't get to watch a lot of the races when we were there because we were busy, but I was watching, like, a lot of the videos earlier, and there was a lot of close races. It's not like it was a blowout. Even though the numbers looked like it was one-sided, I mean, obviously, I think only, like, 6 people got through first round in rear-wheel drive, or 5. But there was probably 10 races that were within a car, or some of them were even within a bumper.
Yeah.
And it could have easily gone the other way if we had just a little bit more data and a few more hits for each car.
I think the worst case scenario happened. I know I've said this to you guys already, but the worst case scenario was our fastest cars drew their fastest cars or trucks, and our slowest cars, like we had maybe some of our slower cars got a bye, or they, drew their slower
Let's say
cars.
if KC Max had drawn somebody like that blue IS 300 that only had the rear axles working because they broke the axles and he smoked the tires. If he had drew somebody like that and got one more pass before he had to race Crazy Horse, him and Crazy Horse could have been right there together.
I asked Ryan, I said, dude, we were talking just after he lost. He came and started watching. He was a spectator now. But I asked him, I was like, dude, if you had one more pass, I was like, what do you think you could have went like a 520? Because he showed his drag at everybody. He went a 540 at 145 off the trailer on a backside. It's insane, first of all, for a normal rear-wheel drive car.
And for somebody that literally put a setup in the car and didn't really even test it at all, I think he made like one hit in front of the track, and that was it.
No
and he's
burnout
on
either.
a power adder that no one hardly has ever used, like less than 10 people.
Yep. And he
That
goes up
dude
there
is
and,
insanely smart.
yeah, he was I had him to win the whole deal just because, I don't even think his car is the perfect setup, but, he's just the smartest guy, and he will figure it out every
I think
time.
he went the fastest mile an hour out of all the rear-wheel drives.
Yeah, probably.
From
And
what
it
I
was-
saw.
He only got one pass. And I asked him, I said, do you think you could have won a 20 if you had one more pass? He said, oh, yeah, absolutely. You just
And
needed
that's
that
what
one.
it would have taken to win. Like, Crazy Horse was 26 to 31 all day long. And depending on who got the reaction time or the light, it could have went either way if somebody was in the low 30s to high 20s. And I think he could have gotten there. There's a few cars that could have gotten there. Obviously, like Charles is really fast. He had a really tough draw first, obviously drawing Cleetus. And I think Cleet went like a 44 or 45, maybe somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
But for Charles to go that fast and be within a bumper first pair is really good too.
So, Allison, you're on the starting line for all the races. You get to watch literally every single one. You're up there filming. So this event was pretty weird because obviously there was no spectators and no burnouts going on. But you said there was a lot of wicked shit going on the starting line throughout the whole event. So how did you feel about the racing?
Man. I mean, I saw some new things up there. Yeah, I'm kind of new to all this. So that was the first time I've ever seen somebody use a jack to do a burnout. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
And I know a couple people caught on. I mean, granted, only 5 made it past first round, but, Tabor saw, I think it was Jarrett and I can't remember the other
Charles.
guy. Charles didn't do a jack burnout, I don't think.
I think he did.
Stefan did.
It was Stefan. Charles didn't do it the first
first time.
round, which he lost. He would have done it the second time, but
See,
So
I was
that was
thinking
interesting.
Bradshaw lost, and then Charles
no,
was like,
Charles.
I think Bradshaw lost because he
It
couldn't
was
do a
Bradshaw
burnout,
was
and then-
first, and
yeah,
then
and then
Charles.
Charles
did it.
was
And then
like,
yeah,
Charles
that's right.
went and said he's going to
Yeah.
do one because I just watched the video. He drugged the jack to 60 feet.
Yeah,
for
that was
burnout.
right. So yeah, Tabor saw that first round, and then he did it second round. I think had most people, if more rear-wheel drive cars made it to second round, they probably would have been doing the same thing. It was interesting.
I thought about
I mean-
doing one like that, but I was worried about my rear radiator getting hit by the jack
Yeah,
because it's really low.
yeah.
And if
Tabors
it's-
were the only one to do it successfully without taking the jack with them. It looked, I don't know, it was a little sketchy, especially if you have a radiator.
Yeah, rear mount radiator.
you said there was quite a bit of drama on the starting line throughout the whole race. I mean,
No drama. I think there would have been drama if it was a more serious race.
yeah. There would have been a lot of money being lost had there been the normal spectators there, because the only gambling that was happening was at the finish line. 'Cause it's where spectators were allowed to be, and that's where I was filming, on the finish line. And I mean, just in KC Max's race, because that was like the first one. So we saw Larry win. He was like third pair, and that was like the first actual race we got to see because Brent broke, and then we had a bye, and then Larry won, and we're like, holy shit, we got this licked. And then the money started flying, like.
Oh, yeah.
Between David and Charles Johnson, they had $1,500 rounded up in bets with, I think, the On D Gas guys and Manuel Gomez, and I was trying to throw 100 in there too.
Can you imagine if they actually let people on the starting line that weren't part of the crew for that? How much money would have been bet?
A lot.
There was a lot of people there to bet that weren't actually with crew, like the normal people that show up. Like David Ray was there. Happy was there. They always bet a lot of money.
I would have bet my entire paycheck that Casey Max is going to win that race. No problem.
So they knew that they couldn't bet on the starting line, so they actually got a pool together before it started, and it was like a bunch of people getting together, and they had like $16,000 on top to basically which team would win.
Yeah.
Rear-wheel drive or all-wheel.
And so I was standing at the finish line. The cars leave, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, I'm watching Ryan just get – I've never seen Ryan lose a race first round, first of all, but seeing him get, 2 or 3 car lengths in between that truck, I was like –
You just don't see that.
it hurt my feelings, number one. But number two, I was just like, we might be in trouble. Like, that set the tone for the rest of the race. And then, obviously,
There's a lot of drama about the rules. And I think a lot of people don't realize, but this race was set up like 6 months ago. I think was when they did the first one. And the rules were dry burnout for them. They don't really need a water burnout or a prep burnout because the trucks are all-wheel drive. Like, it's kind of a waste of time. And they just were doing it for fun. A lot of them at the time were like street trucks. They've obviously gotten faster. A lot of the trucks now have carbon doors and, they've added
Giant
these wings and they've gutted them. But for the most part, like even the purple Grimace truck is still on a stock ECU.
it's crazy.
Like they're pretty street trucks.
It's low effort. I mean, to be honest, you don't need as much stuff.
I don't want to say it's low effort because those guys do put in a lot of work and testing and stuff.
For sure.
But they have money in different places than us, basically. A lot of their money is in their engines and transmissions, where ours is like, converter and ECU and data and sensors. They may not have as much data as us with sensors and stuff like that, but they have a lot of money in their power plants, that's for sure.
How about the diesel truck winning, though? That was pretty cool.
I
I'm sure
didn't-
that deal is high dollar deal.
His truck is definitely high dollar. He's probably the most advanced as far as like what his setup is and stuff like that.
Looking at his truck compared to the rest of them, his was complete, pro mod inside, no dash.
Well, you look inside the bed and there's no bed floor. It's all tube chassis. I don't know if there's any stock frame rail still in the midsection, like under the cab, but I don't think so.
It looked like a fiberglass. Was it fiberglass bed sides?
I think the whole body is like
Whole body's
fiberglass.
fiberglass.
So here's what's interesting to me is normal small tire, you have to have. Now, I understand some of these beds they're like aluminum, right, from the factory now. So obviously you can't say steel roofing quarters, but you could say factory roofing quarters. And on a truck, it doesn't have a quarter panel unless if you count that as the bed side, right? So
Count it as a bed.
But of course, this is Cleetus' race, it's his rules. But in a normal small tire scenario, I don't know if these trucks fit. Even if you allow all-wheel drive, I don't even know if most of them fit, because if they have these goofy beds that aren't original.
I mean, that truck has raced in Limpy's cash days before, so I'm sure it fits the rules, and he always does steel roofing quarters, so they might be like skins on it.
Because if that's the case, I'm gonna put a bet on my truck, because if it don't have quarter panels, it don't need to have original.
I do
steel
feel bad
quarters.
because initially I was like, man, I don't think these guys put a lot of effort in compared to like the rear-wheel drive, and I feel like it's easier for them. But at the same time, the diesel that won, like he's running pumped diesel fuel, and he's getting extremely high horsepower out of that deal. And it's not easy to make a diesel that fast and get it to work. And he obviously put in a lot of effort and testing and trying new stuff. Like that truck makes a ton of power. To go 150 in a diesel to the eighth on a surface like that, it's extremely impressive. So I don't want to take anything away from him.
Yeah.
That was a really impressive win. What do you think, Chris?
I do. I agree that obviously the diesel world is definitely different compared to the gas world, like what we're used to. And
Yeah.
I mean,
you have a
guys,
little bit of experience. You worked for Hot Shots for a while, so you know how hard it is for those
yeah,
guys.
yeah. I mean, like, I take an instance like Justin Ziegler. Like, he's got probably one of the fastest trucks out there that competes in the ODSS series. And I mean, he's been, low fives, high fours, and like, in our world, that's nothing. A lot of these guys can do that, and the diesel guys just can't.
Yeah.
If those guys, especially if they have their, their game stepped up, like
It seems like they usually don't mile an hour with the gas stuff usually. Mm-hmm. Like their mile an hour is always down, but that truck, watching it pull away from those Coyotes, those twin turbo Coyotes up top, it was like he just hit another gear or locked up the converter down there, and it's just fast.
It's all that torque.
It's
Yeah.
impressive though. Like it's still a rough backside. I wouldn't say it's one of the worst ones we typically race on, or especially all the rear wheel drive guys. Like that was a pretty fast backside for us, I'd say, especially if we were able to do burnouts. But a diesel makes so much torque. It was impressive alone, even if he has all wheel drive, just getting that thing down. Like,
So I made the mistake of when I did my burnout, it felt like it was going to like hook, and it felt like I didn't have enough power in it. So when I backed up, I adjusted my tune-up, and I added a pound of boost on the hit and 100 RPM, and that really bit me in the ass because it spun initially, hit the traction control, and then I was playing catch-up after that, and I grabbed the scramble, and it lit the tire like 200 feet. And then at that point, I had to pedal, and it was just over. That purple truck, I mean, he probably went a 30-something against me, and I had to make a perfect pass, and it was just over at that point. Like, I had 38 pounds of boost in it up top, and it was just riding traction control and killing timing, and it just messed the whole run up.
so the most popular comment I've seen on all of our posts is, why can't rear wheel drive do a burnout, but all wheel drive does perfectly fine burnouts, and they put it in rear wheel drive? Like, why are you guys? Why can't you guys do burnouts? Like, people can't wrap their heads around it. So
It's pretty simple. The rear wheel drive cars need more weight on the back to even be close to these all wheel drives. You have to have like around 60% of your weight on the rear or more. So it makes it extremely hard for the car to do a burnout. And even if it does start spinning the tires, it starts digging in even harder. And you see a lot of those cars start doing wheelies coming out of the burnout. So basically, like the all-wheel drive stuff, it's more closer to 60 on the nose, usually. I didn't see a lot of those guys using a ton of weight. I mean, there was some like setups where you had weight like way far back, like Crazy Horse had that hammer, and I think he said that thing was only like 60 pounds. But when it's that far back, it creates an effect.
it acts like 150.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's easier to do a burnout on all-wheel drive because they have less on the rear, basically. And their tune-ups are set up for all-wheel drive, so they've got more in them early in the run when they're trying to do a burnout. So
The other most popular question I saw was, why didn't you run the Nova? Maybe you should. It has more horsepower, and you lost. So basically, you need more horsepower to win. That's what people think. But you want to explain yourself there too, because it's a frustrating comment to look at, because it's like, it was spinning. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need more horsepower. So if you want to explain that.
well, the thing is, a lot of people don't understand. The surface is what matters the most, and getting down it clean. And the Nova, although it may be a 6-second car on a radio prep track, it's not going to do the same thing on the backside of the track. And to set it up for that kind of racing requires a ton of changes in testing. Basically, the Nova has a way heavier engine set up in the front of the car, and it sits about 50-50 bias. It sits more closer to like what the all-wheel drive would sit as far as weight percentages. So to get that car to work on that kind of surface, I would have to put around 500 pounds or more in the back of it to get it to the same percentage that the S10 is.
You've got something with an iron big block Chevy.
It's aluminum.
It is?
But the turbos are
Right.
extremely heavy on that car.
Yeah.
And the engine is not set back. It's in the stock location.
It's still a big block Chevy, and then you've got an aluminum small block Chevy, and it's just the weight bias is just better in general.
To run the Nova on a surface like that, I would need a weight bar like what Joey has. Like, that's why he runs his. He has an iron big block in his car with twins up front, which is, God, can we talk about that? Like, that is insane to take a car from 4.0s to 5.60s in the same week, first off. That's insane that he can do that. But once again, he's got 300 pounds on that freaking weight bar, probably. I mean, I don't know how much it was, but it looked like a lot. There was like 4 plates stacked.
Yeah.
It was at least 200. But way back there like that, that's what it takes. Like, there's no getting around it. You have to have weight that far back when you have a big block with twins up front. That's why Ryan Mitchell, he had a big block in his car, took it out, put an LS in it, aluminum LS. He wasn't running a weight bar, which I think if he was, that could have got him in the 20s too.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it's just,
I
it's a
think
matter of weight bias.
I think a lot of the rear-wheel drive guys underestimated the surface. Like, I think before they got there, they thought it was going to be faster. I think a lot of us thought, it's pretty close to the rubber. Like, we're starting at the finish line at Bradenton, and like in pictures, you can see like there's a little bit of rubber there. Like, especially just from tractors when they glue the track for the normal prep stuff. Like, it looks pretty smooth, and I think once we got there, it's in the heat in the day, and it's like, it's not that great. And I think a lot of people thought, oh, we don't, I don't think the burnout's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a pretty good backside. I think a lot of the rear-wheel drive guys like underestimated it maybe.
I think some underestimated it, but some overestimated it.
Right.
I mean, the matter is nobody had any hits on this surface for a rear-wheel drive setup other than maybe Robert Atani.
Yeah.
Chicken Hawk. He stopped there on a regular test and tune, and this is where like I love people like this. Like, Robert has been street racing for a long time, and he has all these little tricks up his sleeve. He went to a normal test and tune and drove all the way down the track and then made a hit on the top end, acted like he was broke, and made a hit just to get some kind of data before the race. Obviously it didn't work out for him, but I mean, still it got us an idea of what we needed to do. But it's still nothing compared to Cleetus going out there and making 20 hits in his truck and consistently going 40s and 30s.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Like,
Listen, I love Garrett. Like, he is a really cool dude. I think he's done a lot for the sport. And I think it sucks that he made that many hits, like, for us, obviously. But at least he showed his draggies. Because then it gave us some kind of idea what we needed to go.
That's true.
If he had hid the ET to himself, I would have felt a different way. But it's almost like, since he showed the times, it was kind of like, okay, whatever, It is, like, kind of unfair for him to get that many hits on the surface. But at least now everybody's got one, at least.
It's his racetrack at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is a lot of the all-wheel drive guys had already had their all-wheel drive shootout. I don't know how many months ago that was, but a lot of those guys already did an all-wheel drive shootout at Bradenton.
But
And
here's the thing, though. It comes back to this. Like, we were the ones barking at them, saying that we could come there and fuck them up.
Bro, nobody said that. I swear, none of the racers actually say that. It's all just the nut swingers
Somebody did
online.
it. Somebody
It's
did
the
it.
nut
It was
swingers online.
it was a
dude.
combination
Probably.
of both. It really was, honestly.
I think most of the rear-wheel drive guys were just happy to go and try it out. I don't think any of us were like, oh, we're going to fucking beat them.
It was probably most of the nut swingers, but then we were probably liking their comments like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I think we could do it.
I don't remember seeing any post from any nasty post from any of the rear-wheel drive racers that was like, we're going to come out there and fucking.
I'm sure Garrett knows who it was. But
I don't know. I just feel
somebody
like
did
it's
it.
most of the people talking shit are like the fans. Like,
That's how it always is.
yeah. So here's the thing, though.
That's what makes it great, though. It gets people involved. It gets people talking about the sport.
But here's what happened. People are like, why would you guys sign up for a race that's so heavily one-sided to all-wheel drive? Because obviously the burnout thing, whatever. So this was a race that was only supposed to be, the first race that ever happened was just the all-wheel drive shootout. He collectively put together the baddest all-wheel drive cars in the country, and they had their shootout a long time ago. And then that's when all the shit started. Hey, rear-wheel drive wants to come out and participate. Let's try it out. And then it started, but then they kept that same rule set. It's been the same rules, and that's why this kind of happened.
And it was smart for them.
Yeah.
It was smart for them to keep that rule set, and they knew exactly what they were doing by keeping that.
Yeah. And we all pretty much knew the rules. We signed up for it. But I do think Joey did set us up for failure. Like
Joey could have
Positive.
negotiated better. So
No.
I think Joey definitely could have negotiated for us a little bit better since he was our captain. But at the same time, like, I don't think Joey wanted to ask for much because he was probably like, thanks for this opportunity anyways. That's how I felt. I was just glad to have the opportunity to go.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to complain too much.
I really don't think anybody knew how bad it was going to be, though. I was talking to Megan Mitchell up there, and she's like, I understand they have an advantage, but I thought a lot of these guys would, the rear-wheel drive cars would win first round, and then from there on, I think a lot of them would have been fine. Like Ryan, you were talking about earlier. If he just made, if he made it past first round, he could have kept going faster and faster, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Nobody really knew how bad of a blowout it was going to be.
No, I didn't.
So
I
I can't really blame Joey.
But right, I mean, like what
Nobody was expecting it.
Yeah, I mean, it was close racing. It was
It
good
was.
For the
It was
amount of
close
hits that we
racing.
had, it really wasn't a blowout. I feel like it could have easily went
On
the other
paper,
way.
it looks like a blowout.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess I can't really blame Joey for it.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I think that at the end of the day, like you couldn't make a mistake against the all-wheel drive cars for first round.
That's the thing.
That's
If you miss in a rear-wheel drive car, you miss bad.
Yeah.
If you miss in one of those, maybe slow down a tenth or two. It's gonna have a little wheel speed. It might white smoke a little bit.
you ain't pedaling an all-wheel drive truck.
No,
You don't-
you
you're
just drive through.
You're just rolling through it.
Yeah.
In a prep situation, that's the biggest thing is like in the all-wheel drive diesel, like in that diesel world, obviously that type of racing. If you're on a track like a radio prep track, that if they mess up, it's done. That's it. You can't do anything. You can't fix that. Now, like in our, and like you said, in like the backside stuff, they have a little bit of wiggle room to where they can fix it.
So basically, in a rear-wheel drive car on that type of surface, if you miss in the first 1 second of the run, you slow down exponentially the rest of the run because you're playing catch-up because you don't have the momentum to go through the middle, basically. If you slip the tire early, even just a little bit, you hit traction control a couple times, that's much less momentum in the middle for you to gain traction out there. Like, those trucks, when they miss a little bit early, they can just kind of drive through it a little bit. Whereas us, like, when our G meter drops, like, it's over. Like, once you stop accelerating and spin a little bit in the first 1 second, it just totally destroys the whole run.
So, Chris, as somebody who you're part of D team, you've set up a lot of the races here in Ohio and surrounding states. You've written rule sets before, I'm sure, for a lot of these classes, but a lot of these events around here, we all share the same rules. But I'm sure we're going to talk about it soon. Like, should all-wheel drive be banned? But okay, so let's say we don't ban all-wheel drive. In your eyes, how do we make it fair, and how do we give these guys somewhere to race with us in rear-wheel drive events? What do you think needs to happen?
I mean, honestly, it boils down to the racer because ultimately, who's going to dictate the rules? The racers. And there's a lot of guys out there that are let me backtrack. It's just funny now because there's a lot of guys out there after this event that's happened. They said, oh, I'll race an all-wheel drive anytime. But if you would have asked them 2 weeks prior to this, they said, oh, we'll never sit beside an all-wheel drive because we're scared to death. And we just don't want to.
They want to do it for the clout now.
Yeah, they're all about the clout now. And I'm telling you, there's plenty of guys online that I'm like, buddy, you would have never said that 2 weeks prior to this race.
Yes, that's a good point.
And it's annoying because like there's guys out there that don't care and they will sit beside an all-wheel drive car all day long and not complain one thing about it and use it to help improve their program and say they actually have a set of balls.
There's
Ryan's
a
a
lot
good
of promoters looking
example
to
of that.
cash in.
That's really annoying. And I'm not ever going to be one of those people that's ever going to do that. Like,
I saw at least 3 different promoters say they were going to do an all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive shootout at their races now. But before that, they were always like, nah, we don't want them in small tires.
Those guys from Texas aren't going anywhere else to race like this was than Cleetus's deal. That's
At
it.
a local level, there's not enough all-wheel drive vehicles to support a shootout.
no.
It has to be something like what Garrett did,
Yep.
at least until it gets more popular. Which I think a lot of people are looking into buying those F-150s after this last week.
Yeah, the price value of F-150s just went up after this week.
So should all-wheel drive be banned?
No, I don't think they should be banned. I think they should just adjust the rules for the small tire to make it more fair.
But you don't. But I mean, here's the thing. I think a lot of those all-wheel drive guys know better not to show up on anything prepped. Like, I think if you race anywhere else in the country that had rubber, I don't think we would have had the same outcome.
I think some of them would, some of them wouldn't, obviously, but on the backside, which is what those trucks are built for, they didn't build them for the front side. They built them for street racing and making money on the street and backside. That's all they're set up for. I think if you take them to a backside, but you give small tire a 29.5, 10.5, and you give them a prep burnout or a water burnout, and you run them at night where the surface can get a little bit better, it doesn't get as gooey when the sun's out in the middle of Florida. Like, I think that would even up the playing field substantially.
Billy, when the track gets better, the all-wheel drive trucks get faster too. That's what
Not
they say.
not as much. They'll get faster a little bit, but not substantially like the rear wheel drives will.
A lot of these trucks, I don't know. A lot of these trucks have been in the 4s, like,
No, not a lot of them.
and if you get the stipulations you just said, Bradenton will like Ryan could go 4s there on some prep at night. He'll be in the 4s, no problem.
You'll start seeing low 120, 60 foots, maybe 110s.
You had some of these guys in these trucks making personal bests.
Yeah.
These all-wheel drive trucks. I'm
First
like,
round.
they're fast as shit on the surface, but like, what else can they like? They're almost topped out. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much faster you can go in those things. Like,
I think Crazy Horse went 490s in his truck on a good track before.
and that's the baddest of the bad of those trucks.
Yeah.
that truck's been forced before. It 100% has.
Yeah.
But I mean,
A couple of years ago, too.
Yeah, the diesel stuff. I mean, look at the dragsters. I mean, like, there's a couple of dragster diesels out there that's in 3s. So
But it's all about getting like, when you put a 4-wheel drive truck like that on a track, I mean, it almost gives them more problems because you're now having to keep 4 slicks happy. You know what I mean? So that's why
They get really pissed off, and it's got to be hard on equipment, too.
yeah.
I'd imagine.
You get into some, you
Axles
shake
and-
4 slicks at once, like, tire shake, 2 28s. If you shake the tires, or like in big tire, like, you get some tire shake. I imagine. I mean, it's just got to be rough in a 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
But
And here's the thing. There's some other cars that I would like to see there. What were you going to say, Allison? Sorry, I keep
I was just
cutting you
breathing.
off.
I was just breathing. You're fine.
we're king yappers
I,
over here.
I was thinking, but I
I
don't
want
know.
to see some
I don't
GTRs.
think.
Mike Bandy, I would like to see him out there.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think if he would have jumped in the all-wheel drive shootout that they did, I think he probably would have done very, very well.
Yeah.
Just because if there's anybody out there that knows how to do that stuff, he does.
So I want to bring up. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Allison, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I don't think you can say all-wheel drive should be allowed in small tire after this or banned because I don't think this race was a very good.
No other race
it
is run
didn't-
like this one.
No, it's. I don't know. That's not a good way to determine
Like,
if they should be allowed or not.
If the point of this race was to find out who's faster,
Yeah.
I don't
And that
think
wasn't the point of this race either.
Yeah.
So
But I don't think we
you know.
still know.
no, we
Like-
don't. Like again, we were just talking how things could have been different. Like if you guys were allowed on a 29, or if we did it at night with a water burnout, like things could have been very different.
Yeah.
Or if there were just a couple different draws first round,
Right.
that could have changed
Yeah,
everything.
worst case
I mean, I
scenario.
don't know if anybody was going to be messing with Crazy Horse this race, but
We could
I
have put
think-
up a better fight.
yeah,
If we had some-
absolutely.
Just a couple more
So
passes.
I think
our
Ryan,
question
Ryan
still
could have
isn't
been right
answered.
there with him, for sure.
maybe.
Okay, so Matt Rice made a post I actually really like. Okay, he brings up a good point. Okay, He said, we should ban Fox bodies from small tire because they have an advantage. And then he left a comment and said, kind of sounds as ridiculous as banning all-wheel drive. So, look, let's say somebody out there has an all-wheel drive F-150 as they came from the factory, right? Just like a Fox body, like it comes from the factory. So they want to participate in small tire, but they can't. Their vehicle doesn't fit. From the factory, they just don't fit a class, you know what I mean? Like,
Look at the definition of the class. It's called small tire. It's dictated on you have a limited tire size. That's way different than a certain car that's like rear-wheel drive from the factory.
So, like, what do you think there's a way to make it in the rules where, like, they could only have, it would look crazy goofy, but, like, 4 slicks that also add up to, what's our tread width? 10.5 times 2 is 21.
It's tough because, like, yes, the all-wheel drives have more rubber on the ground, but they also deal with some other bullshit that we don't have to, too.
They're crazy heavy.
They're heavy. They're not as aerodynamic. They sit really high. They have to deal with torque steer. They have to deal with, like, percentages, like how much they want to drive the front versus the rear. I seen a comment. Somebody said that, like, the front only takes like 10% of the load on those trucks sometimes. They'll have them dialed back that much just so that they're not trying to drive out from under them. But, yeah, they're a lot heavier for sure. I mean, they're definitely at a disadvantage once the rubber comes around. So it depends on the surface, really.
Mm-hmm.
That was a weird surface that we started on because I don't think there's a lot of the backside stuff. You know, you don't come off of, you know, that pavement was like grooved pavement, and they put like one top layer of asphalt on it and called it good. Now most of these backsides, you know, especially the newer backsides, they have that top coat, then they put a finish coat over top of it, and that makes it super fast.
The 60 foot there was slow. The first 60 feet was extremely slow. But after the bump, it was pretty decent. So if you could, like Andrew Lavender did the best out of all the rear-wheel drives because he was so conservative the first 300 feet, but then he applied every bit of power he had the last part of the track, and he kept the tire hooked up and was consistent. A lot of the guys got a little greedy early, like myself included, and we just lost the tire, and it ruins the rest of the run.
Do you think if you wouldn't have made a change, do you think it would have went down?
I think so. I think it would have went down and probably would have been exactly what I wanted because it just slipped the tire a little bit, and that's enough to ruin it.
You were in a tough situation, though, because Grimace won the all-wheel drive shootout.
I knew I had to be fast.
Yeah.
I had to shoot for a 30 or a 40, and it just wasn't there yet for me,
and in your head,
when you miss trying to go a 30, you're going to go a 6.0.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's just what happens in a rear-wheel drive.
I'm sure you were thinking, like, you did your burnout that failed, and you're like, damn, that thing just hooked, and it felt really sluggish. You're probably like, I don't want to lose because didn't put enough in it. Like, that's the worst. You'd almost rather lose because you spun than just get an outright gap because you didn't put enough in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's always a fine line with us.
And the thing is, too, like, if you watch the video back, it didn't look like I was spinning that bad. But what people don't see is me in there pedaling it and trying to keep the wheel speed down, and then it grabbing traction control. That's what really slows it down is when it grabs traction control and pulls all the timing out of it. So it's like, damn, I wish I would have just grabbed the scramble the whole way and smoked the tires. That way it would have looked better for me. Because it didn't look like it was spinning that bad. But, like, in there, it's different.
The stick was the weirdest part up there whenever I was walking the line and stuff, trying to figure out where I was going to put you. And, like, there was just a very it wasn't even a tread wear, like the length of, like, where there was just a little bit of stick. It was the weirdest, almost a weird surface.
Very, very different.
From those first couple of guys that went up there and made their passes. And, I don't know, it just, and I felt, I always say it was really, really hot. You know, that surface had been baking for, you know, I think it was 85 degrees that day. Like, it was just a different feeling. It had a little bit of grease to it, you know.
Yeah. That's where racing at night would have helped for sure.
Yep.
But I don't know if they have, like, really good lighting down there. So maybe if they do the next one, I still say for the next one, start it at night and allow at least a water burnout and 29s. That would be really, really good for us.
So Garrett did announce that they are doing another one in October. I wonder if we'll get invited back if it's the same rear-wheel drive, or if he's going to kind of like, some people are getting kicked off and faster ones. Like, I don't know if people are going to lose their spots or whatnot, but he did say he's going to make some rule changes, so it'll be interesting to see what, obviously, I think, because the biggest complaint is all the rear-wheel drive's excuses. We didn't get burnouts, so that's probably going to be the rule change if I had to guess. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to make, I really don't think it's going to make a huge difference. I worry that we might still get, it might still be a problem for us. Because if they're doing it in the daytime, I mean, like, we're going to have the same issue. Because so Andrew Lavender was the farthest to make it, right? He went 3 rounds, I think. 4 rounds.
I think.
Yep.
And, I mean, it was in the heat of the day. And, I mean, by that time, there was enough all-wheel drive trucks that were doing burnouts that there was rubber down. But it was really greasy. And I think, I mean, hell, I mean, I don't know how much faster he could have went. Because the reason he lost was he kind of lost the tire and the 60-foot trying to get after it. And, I mean, that's all it took. The whole run's over. But, I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make for us. Like you said, I wish it would be at night. But, how many handicaps do we need? That's what it starts looking like. It's what it starts looking like
It's
almost.
not a handicap. It's really not. It's simple no prep rules. At any event in the country you go to, you're going to have a water or a prep burnout.
Yeah.
And you're going to race in the night a little bit. A lot of these no prep races don't start in the morning.
Right.
Like, they're starting them late at night when the spectators want to come out, and that's no prep. No prep started as street racing in a controlled environment. And when you street race, usually at night, that's just what you do.
So another thing that happened was there was a no prep the same weekend. It just happened, last night?
Yes.
At Orlando Speed World. They had it was Sinister Performance. Is that who put it on?
TRC.
TRC and
that's right.
Sinister, I
Okay.
think, went together on it.
Yeah. So this was the day after the Cleetus all-wheel drive event.
2 days.
2 days after. So, and that surface is really bad. Like, I've heard that, 640s is doing all right there, which is really bad. But they did a backslide no prep, and they did have Grimace out there. I don't know how many other all-wheel drive trucks showed up, but
And he was in the finals. That was the purple truck that won the first one and then beat me and then got to the finals against Crazy Horse.
and Jarrett Bradshaw took him out, right?
Yep, Jarrett Bradshaw.
And that was in the finals.
Yep, Jarrett.
Wow.
I thought it was semifinals.
It might have
'cause
been
I thought
semis,
I thought
yeah.
him and Charles split
Oh,
small
okay.
tire.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was semifinals, and honestly, like, it looked like the complete difference between when Bradshaw got outran at Cleetus's deal, where he outran that truck on that surface.
Yeah. It's almost like, I mean,
It was completely flip flopped.
yeah, like a lot of us rear-wheel drive guys just need one pass. One pass, like especially when you're racing somewhere new, you got to get it dialed in after that one pass, but that's all it takes.
And the thing about that Grimace truck, I know it's on a stock ECU from what they said in the 1320 video. And I don't know how much tuning is there with that. I don't know. There's probably not. You can't really pull timing based on your trans brake release or anything like that. So, I mean, as far as tune-ups go, I don't know how versatile that truck is when you take it to a surface that slow. I feel like his truck's almost just the same tune-up anywhere it goes, and he just makes it go down. So, like, for him to go to that surface, it may have been too hot of a tune-up from when he was at, Bradenton, and he just spun all 4 tires and was slower. So that's another thing. Like, some of those trucks, like, you're not going to see any rear-wheel drives with a stock ECU in them. Some of those trucks are just the way they are, and they're just forcing them down. So once they get more advanced, they're going to get faster too. That's something we got to think about.
So that wasn't the only event that happened in Florida. We were planning to go to that one, but there was another thing that we got invited to. And Chris, you have a lot of the scoop on this.
Oh boy.
So we start calling Chris Scoop now because he's always got the scoop. But
1320 was there filming. I know G2K was there.
Yeah.
They were all really excited to film this deal.
so there was a
Limpy
street
was there.
race. There was a street race that happened. Was it the night after?
Yeah, it was on Friday. It was the night after.
Yeah. So, Chris, give us a scoop. Apparently, there was a absolute shit show street race that happened down there. So, give us a scoop on that.
Yeah, I mean, usually Mike is usually the one that always does those street races, especially I think the
With
first
Sinister
one.
Performance.
The first one, yeah, Sinister Performance, Mike Corley. He did the first one the night before the first OSW no prep that him and TRC did last year. and Limpy flagged. It was good. They ended up finishing the race. Actually, Mike's the one that won the race. This time around, I know it was somebody else who was running the program who was flagging. We've been to one of their races before, and it actually went well. And we would have expected it would have went the same way, but it seemed like there was a lot more spectators at this one. I would say there was probably 100 to 200 spectators there. They were lined down the road. The road looked very good. It was fast. There was a single lane, and then it had a middle lane for like turning and stuff like that. And the race was supposed to start, I think, right around, I think it was like midnight, 1 a.m., and it ended up going for like another hour afterwards. And
Started late.
It started very late, and they still had people coming in. They still had trailers coming down the road. I'm like, how are these people still coming to this race? If they've already had the drivers meeting, they've already done pairs, they could have been late, and somebody could have bought them in. Who knows? First pair that goes down, the guy on the left senses there's an issue, and he gives the flagger usually when you give that, you're broke.
Yeah.
So they end up letting the guy in the right lane go. As he's going down the road, there's a car coming the opposite direction in the other lane. So he literally sent a car as there was a car coming down the road that other car passed at like probably 350 to 400 feet.
So there was obviously no spotters, no security.
Correct. That's from what I understand. And I'm like, why? Like, usually, obviously, I've flagged street races. I've done it before. Every time I go in, before I send a car, I turn around and look behind me to see what's going on. If there's anything going on, I'm sending it.
That's just common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't understand, why you
I'm
would
surprised
even.
the racer went. If he saw headlights, he could have been like, hey, there's a car coming, I'm not going.
Right.
But,
Yep. So they end up sending where it's like, wow, that's pretty stupid.
Yeah. That's a good way to get the cops calling.
What happened after that? Did the cops come?
So they made it everybody, I think they ended up finishing first round. The cops ended up coming. They made it to the second spot, and I guess the cops were pretty much right behind them. So everybody that was there followed everybody. I mean, there was 100, 200 spectators there. So you got to think how many people, how many cars there it is.
Yeah.
So the race ended. I know that everybody.
They only had 2 spots.
I guess they only had 2 spots. So I guess
That's not enough.
It's definitely not enough. They end up paying everybody who won first round, and the guy kind of ghosted the group chat and was like, "I'm done. I'm done for the night." There was no effort to try to want to finish the race.
But they did end up getting paid.
From what I understand, they did get paid.
It was looking a little dodgy there for a minute.
Yeah, because I guess the guy was dodging the group chat and stuff like that, which is, that's. This guy's had some history before, so
Not
everybody's
paying people.
Huh?
Not paying people and stuff
Not
like that.
paying people.
I think it was the
payouts-
Prestons was the big one that got posted online. They didn't get paid from him at an event one time.
Yeah, they were short on pay, and then I guess some workers and stuff didn't get paid either.
Why do you think people get away with that and for so long, and the racers trust them over and over and over?
I've always said this, and this ain't a diss to any of them. It just seems like a lot of the locals race in Florida.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of those guys that travel and stuff like that. There's only a couple people that go out, that venture out from there to go to different races. And I just think that, there's one guy doing it, and they're just there to follow it, and there's nobody else that wants.
They need somebody else to step up.
Nobody else wants to step up and do it.
I mean, this is a race that had 24 cars, you said?
Yes.
A lot of people from out of town that were at the Cleetus thing were probably in it, and maybe they don't know, you know what I mean?
Yep.
They don't know who this guy is. They don't know who's flagging, but, they're trying to get some street racing in, and they just don't know that, if somebody's sketchy, that it's there, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So if I'm a Florida racer, I'm stepping up and saying, hey, I'm not fucking racing if this guy's doing this race. If he can't give us a spotter down track, if he can't get us security, I'm not going to race.
Yep.
And then that guy's not going to do it anymore because no one's going to show up.
Right.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And Limpy's there. Mike's there. They could easily set it up if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the way Limpy operates, and that's what in his life that's what he kept saying. He goes, there's nobody spotting. He goes, I wouldn't even let this even be going on. We wouldn't even be racing.
Spectators past the starting line, stuff like that.
Yep, and there's poles and stuff down that road. I mean, they were lined up down that road. Like,
There's a lot of good roads in Florida.
I was invited to this race, and we didn't have a very good time, obviously, at the first race. I didn't plan on going anyways, but I would have maybe thought about it if somebody else was running it, and I know the history of the guy that ran it. That's the thing. Like, all these people were asking me if I'm going, and I'm like, listen, I have a kid now. If I'm racing on the street somewhere, it's going to be Limpy running the fucking race, or Richard Garcia. That's just the way it is. Or I'm setting it up
BJ.
myself.
Or BJ.
Or BJ.
Or BJ. Yeah.
That's the only 3 that I would participate in.
I don't fuck with anybody else.
Yeah.
It's not worth it to me.
I don't love street races after big events either.
Yeah.
No, because you get a lot of people that haven't street raced before, and then you get a lot of spectators that were at the race knowing that the street race is going on because they hang out in all the pits.
yep.
How many races we've been to, people were like, you going to the street race later?
I immediately,
As soon as I hear that,
immediately I know.
Mind.
No.
As soon as I hear that, I'm not going.
Yeah.
Pause.
Yep.
Because I'm like,
Sorry.
And that's the way it always is.
Stop.
that's just the thing about street racing. I feel like there's a lot of areas that have pop-up promoters, and they throw a race or two, and it goes bad, then they go away for a while. And then they pop up next year, and they throw a race or two, and then they go away for a while. It doesn't go good. There's a lot of areas like that.
Yep.
And that's a lot of why I don't go to races like that.
I really like grudge racing, like one and dones. Shootouts are really hard to get done anymore, and that's something we did forget to bring up. Is before the Cleetus race happened, there was Tabor and Gringo actually raced on the street.
That to me is real street racing to its core.
Yeah.
Like grudge racing and street racing, that's what it's all about. Like you set it up, you go and you do it, you get it out of the way and you leave.
Yeah.
You bet a bunch of money, one race, more on the line, a lot more pride on the line. That's real shit.
I've never seen, like, you got more than 12 to 16 cars, that shit ain't getting done. And nobody's really having a good time if it does get done. You're racing till the morning. I hate it. I've never liked, unless it's the pad, like, there's no other street races that's worth it to me to go and do a whole shootout like that. It's just not fun. I don't have a good time.
There is an area that consistently gets good shootouts done, and that's New Jersey, and we haven't been there yet. I really would like to go to some of their stuff.
Tyler kind of rules the roost there, don't he?
No,
Where's
he's
a lot
won
of
a
his
couple.
Where's a lot of his grudge races? Just in New York or on the island, or?
Jersey, the island. That's pretty much it. He pretty much stays over there. But
He
yeah,
seems like he has a hard time.
he's
getting
won a
races.
shootout or two in New Jersey, I think.
Yeah.
But he's been fighting his car a lot recently. You know, that thing's had a lot of trouble. It's given him a lot of fits. But he's starting to get it figured out now, I think. But yeah, New Jersey has a really good street racing scene that gets a lot of shootouts done. They do a race called King of the Blacktop, and they do it to where they run like one round one weekend, then another round the next weekend, then they finish it off after that. But for that, you kind of have to be in that area to be there for like a month. But it's kind of cool how they do it.
And they don't do a whole lot of racing up there either. So, like, you try to do that, like, in this area, it's not going to work because there's so many races. Everybody's putting a race on every freaking weekend.
Yeah.
And it's up there, like...
They don't have any no-prep races going on every weekend.
Nope.
It's either street racing or they're at the track doing radial stuff.
Yep.
In that East Coast area, there's just not a whole lot of no-prep events, seems like.
Yep.
There's starting to be more, but there's not a whole lot.
So, if you do get invited back to the next Cleetus deal, he says he's doing another one in October. What changes? People are you going to bring the S10 again? Because we're allowed to change cars, first of all. And if you do bring the S10, what changes do you think we need to make, if any, to try and? Would you be willing to run a wing or a butthurt bar? I know we're joking about putting a truck cap on it and putting weight in the top of it.
I don't think the S10 can be competitive with some of those cars unless we completely can change the configuration of it. I'm going to be honest.
So basically, we need to tube chassis it. Is that what you're saying?
No.
If we were trying to do that kind of stuff with it, I think it needs a rear suspension change. I think the motor needs moved back a little bit, and to do all that requires a lot. I think the S10 it's behind the times. Like there's not a whole lot more you can do to it in its current configuration. Like it kind of needs a 4-link.
We could do Nick Taylor's new 4-link,
You could,
but
but
is that really going to be the difference maker? And
I don't know. I think we have the Nova, we have the Camaro, we've got your Falcon, we've got the S10. Those are our 4 main fast cars, right? I think the Camaro, when it comes out, could probably do a little bit of backside if we
Really?
set it up for it. Yeah, it's got a 86-inch mid plate, and it's 106 inches long. This is a 111-inch wheelbase, and the engine is set way far forward compared to it. I mean, if Beater Bomb can make an iron big block go down, why can't we make an aluminum big block go down?
your Camaro is aluminum too.
Yeah. We could make the Camaro go down, I think. But it just comes back to, like, a lot of these cars are purpose built for that surface. And the S10 is just kind of one of those things that it's good all around. Like, it can do front side, it can do back side, but it's not really set up for either really well.
So then, I mean, what do? You just park it and don't race it, or what kind of racing do you want to do with it from now on?
I think it's a good backup vehicle when something else is down, but I think it's served its purpose.
I think it'd be good still in the street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great local street racing.
Yep.
It's still fuck anybody up local. Like,
The
and that is a
S10's
call
retired.
out. That is a call out to anyone local. It will fuck anyone up locally.
Here comes Ryan
Here comes
McCoy.
Ryan
Oh boy.
I got
And
50
I have-
bucks and chicken nuggets.
I have fucked Ryan up so many times. He's probably gunning for me, but
So what you're saying is, it's worn out and it's just you're done. You're done with it.
I'm not saying I'm done with it. I'm just saying it's not fucking competitive.
What about setting it up for like True Street?
That would be cool. Setting it up for like some streetcar stuff would be cool. Being able to drive it.
You should do a drag and drive with it.
That's what
That'd
I'm
be
saying. It
really
would be
cool.
so cool to see you do that.
But
no
even to
prep
do
drag and
that,
drive.
the fucking cage sucks and it doesn't cert.
I know,
Do the
right?
no prep drag and drive next year. That'd be sick in the truck.
There's that one.
I
would
doubt
like to
they're
do
teching
that
cages.
8th mile Redwood rally where they're probably not teching as hard. That would probably be cool.
The Back to the Streets one. That one, the one that goes to Brown County.
They're probably
Yeah.
not teching very hard on that one either. That'd probably be a good
Exactly.
one.
Let's be
Do it
honest
next
though.
year.
We probably should. We got Mike.
We
around
ain't
now.
we ain't going to no events that John Sears is teching. That motherfucker ain't passing.
Well, I mean, we should just put a new cage in it. You could put a chromoly cage in it and make it a little lighter. That would help.
We could have Mike do a new cage in it maybe, but I don't want to run bars out the back window.
Well, 25 to it then. Fuck it.
I don't know, man. I would like to be able to drive it again. That would be cool.
I miss seeing you drive that thing around. Just
Got to get the
cruising.
steel
You
doors
know
down.
what we could do? We could set it up for Richard's True Street races and run.
Dude,
That'd
this
be
thing would be
awesome.
this thing would be a killer. I think.
If we set it up for like the True Street racing that Richard's doing out there in Oklahoma, and like set it up to do no prep dragon drives, that would be really cool.
I want to see you put some radials on that bitch. Go fast.
Yeah, we could do that too if we update the cage a little bit.
Yeah,
Get some
if
better
we're back to, well,
brakes
you know,
on
the
the
cage
back.
that's
No.
half welded in probably ain't going to cert.
I want to see it
That
back
cage
on the
that's
street.
been in it
I
has
think
been
option.
in it.
That's
I
where
think
it
the
is.
first option's a lot better.
But I mean, that's the
Yeah.
thing. For all these True Street classes, you got to put on a radial anyways.
The cage
You know
that's
what
in
I'm
it has been in it since
Vietnam.
2016, and I mean we're coming up on it's almost 10 years.
And it wasn't great to begin with.
No, I mean
It's not.
it's not bad. It's just it was built for a truck that was going 590s
Yeah.
back then, and now it's going 480s. So it's a lot faster, and you know I think it could go even faster than that if we actually tried.
You might as well. I mean, bars to the back glass isn't that bad, but I mean, I don't know what a 25-2 entails, but I know once you get into the Again, I'm not a chassis person, so I don't know if it's 25.2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know, but there is like if you do a 25.2, you don't have to run
That's a
bars.
6.0 cert.
Well, why not? Why not do that?
That gets rid of pretty much all the factory frame rails except for the front.
Put it back on the street.
Yeah. But we should put a new cage in it.
Definitely
I don't disagree.
should.
And then if
Maybe we should take it to 10 soldiers and let them have their way with it.
they know their ways with like the rules. They know how to. They'll put you at 25.2 and they'll have the whole frame still. They'll just run the bars through the frame. Whatever they got to do.
How sick would it be to see the S10 slammed on the ground though, like a chassis truck with the same body? It would be pretty
You
cool.
could probably
looking.
do it with Nick Taylor's. I mean, you could probably do it with what you got. You just need to move your anti-roll bar and all that shit down there. But then you're looking at gutting the bed and all that shit. So, what if we
But
just make
why?
another S10 and clone it and do that one as a chassis one? Like, we'll do that paint scheme, but like a red one. That'd be
But-
kind of cool.
But why?
So that we can go race fat, like we could be on
Well,
top
what
again.
I mean, that's what the
We won't.
Camaro's
We
for,
won't.
and then
But
there's a lot
also
of
at
things
the
you can do
same
to
time,
the
I'm
Nova.
at the
There's
point where like
S10s.
There's too much heart in that one, too much soul. I don't.
It's what
I know
started
what
the
you're saying.
channel, man. You know what I mean? It's the only reason we're sitting here is that damn truck. So
Yeah, exactly.
Keep it OG.
maybe
I
we
know.
should
Keep
do
it
a poll.
OG.
Maybe we should do a poll.
I think so.
See how far we should go with the S10. Should we keep it mostly the way it is, set it up for like no prep, drag and drive stuff? Keep the factory chassis, frame rails, all that stuff. Keep the leaf springs.
possibly do the Nick Taylor thing.
Maybe update the cage a little bit. Or
Definitely
should
update
we
the cage.
should we take it to 10 soldiers and let them do a tube chassis and just use the factory body and take all the soul out of it? Move the motor back, make it competitive again.
Wait, what if you do this? What if we do this? Okay, we just take the cab and the bed and that and just have 2 frames. So you
Oh
get the
my
original
gosh.
frame and you got the tube chassis frame.
You're thinking way
You
too hard
just-
into this.
Dude, it's
Just buy
4,
another truck.
4, 8. It's like 12 bolts.
We could still probably keep like the factory floor, just cut out the floor, or maybe like, I mean, if you look at what is a vehicle to its core, is it the body? Is it the frame? Is it the tires?
Look at my
Like-
junk box. There's nothing left of it. By the time I got done
You-
restoring that truck, the only thing original is the frame, the cab, and then that's not even all original anymore because I put fucking cab corners and rocker panels on it. And the doors and fenders are going to be gone soon, but like that's it.
And you were like crying over that. You were so sad.
But
I
now
think
it's fine.
if we had 10 soldiers do it tastefully, like if they grifted out the stock frame rails for the front and like slivers of them.
Right.
No, they're still there.
It's still there. It's all fine.
No.
And cue up the comments. Oh, what about the blue truck? You should do it to the blue truck.
Oh my god.
I'm waiting
dude.
for it. I'm waiting for it.
The blue S10, just so we can get this over with, is going to be a bracket truck, and that's about it. Okay? Everybody can just calm down.
I think. Look at Murder Nova. He has the OG car
Right.
and he has the newer Nova.
Right.
They're still both Murder Nova.
We could do that.
We could find
I
a
like
tube
that.
chassis S10 or have 10 soldiers built one and make it look exactly the same.
But I
I
think we
like
should
that.
have one that, like that, the what do you call those? The sunrise stripes. They came in red. Like imagine having a red one and a blue one, or do like a black and blue one.
That would be cool.
Be kind of cool. Look
Yeah.
at like what do they call that truck? Zip tie. They had like a wheelie truck that you could make it a wheelie truck. There you go for the fans. You could have the actual race truck.
All right, JJ the boss.
Exactly. You'd have people hang off the back of it if they,
I think
sign the
we
waiver.
do some updates to the cage, set it up for cruising and drag and drive stuff. Do a little bit of no prep drag and drive with it, and then just keep it the
It
way it
can't
is.
just sit. You know what I mean?
So
I
it's-
can't just.
It's not gonna sit.
It's
It's
not
gonna
gonna
do
sit.
drag and drive
Okay,
whenever there's
yeah.
an event,
Drag
and
and
then it's gonna
drive?
fuck people up locally on the street.
Okay.
Then we're gonna go radio race. We'll go radio race with something. If we want to go backtrack, no prep
Low
something. we'll go back-
gangsters.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a low gangsters vehicle.
Somebody should just make a real deal, like actual OG 28s class, like that's popular and local. That like, because like 5 years ago, like the same thing as the Falcon, like it was perfect, and then tube chassis cars came in and just ruined everything. But it's the evolution of racing. They didn't ruin it. It's just the evolution of racing. You know, I just miss the old days when like all of the
the
normal
good
ass
old
cars.
days.
At the same time, though, shit was slow.
Yeah, it was.
Shit was fucking slow,
Yep.
and it's faster now, and that's
It's the
just is what
evolution
it
of
is.
it.
Nobody's
but-
gonna fucking slow down.
But let's be honest here. A stock suspension car is still winning over these chassis cars.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's a Fox body. Not everybody wants a Fox body.
Okay, listen.
We don't all want Fox bodies. Nobody wants that. And that's why I like radio racing so much, is because you get to finally see like a variety of shit. Not just a bunch of Fox bodies, which I understand it's a great platform and that's why everybody's using it. But like, I don't want to have to use a Fox body. I don't want to have to put a gay wing on my car. I don't want to have to run a stupid butthurt bar. I just want to race the car that I've always liked to race the way that it is. But obviously we have to do upgrades, but you get to a point where you got to take the damn soul out of the car. Like, I like having a dash in my car.
Yeah,
I
we're
like
at-
having roll up windows.
We're at the same point with the Falcon where like, okay, this bitch is heavy. It's not really small tire. It's not really true street because it's on methanol and it has fucking Mustang suspension on the rear, which
But that's
isn't
legal
factory
now.
to it. Some cases it's legal.
It literally, they changed the rules. Like all of the True Street classes now that Nick Taylor came out with the 4-link for S10s, you're allowed to have a triangulated 4-link in any vehicle, even if it didn't come with it. So literally all we have to do to my car is put it on the 85. And I found the guy that has the original intercooler for that car. He's trying to sell it to me. That's what I want to do. And Precision's helping us out. They got the class legal turbos. In my eyes, I want to put a class legal turbo on it, a 76, run that bitch in True Street locally, and then in the winter we take it down there, put it in limited 235, and have a good old time. And I don't have to absolutely gut the car.
There's no turbo rule on True Street on no prep, so I would definitely keep the twins on it for
Yeah,
no
but if
prep.
it only needs to make 1,400 horsepower or whatever it is, like to win in True Street locally. then-
Okay, but here's the thing. A single 76 on no prep isn't going to run worth a fuck.
Bro, that's a cheater ass 76. I mean,
Yeah, but that motherfucker's on 40 pounds of boost in .2. You ain't doing that on no prep. They're getting their mile an hour from it being
well, then
all
we need
in
to
early.
have two turbos that interchange without any modifications. One that is like, maybe we put a big single on it, but like, obviously we're going to have to. But like, if we have the cheater ass class legal 76 and then like a gangster ass turbo that could.
We could have two different turbo kits if you wanted to run limited stuff for
And
sure.
this is why people have purpose-built cars.
I know.
This
But
is I don't know.
what am I supposed to do with that thing? I'm in the same boat as the
You
S10.
just pick a class and you build the car around the class.
And then True Street.
That's what you're doing then.
There you go.
There you go.
True Street to the lanes.
I
Little
mean, you can
gangsters
keep
to
that
the
thing on methanol and go race at like the big threes, True Street. And,
There's like 2 of those though, right? I mean, there's only 2 of those
yeah,
races.
but I mean, you don't change anything.
How much E85 are you supposed to have in your tank? It's on E85 if there's a little bit in there.
That's true. There is no rule on that.
And I don't see nobody testing fuel unless you're John Sears.
You're making them blush.
I was talking about.
So what okay, so here's the other thing. It's like, well, you're going to have the Camaro and Tommy's going to drive the Nova. I want my own car.
Just run your car on True Street then.
But I also really want to run
And then what do we
radio
do with the Nova?
stuff. But I just really want to run the limited 235 class too. Like, I'm really interested in that. Like, when it's snowing up here and we're in Florida for 3-4 months out of the year,
You want to run shit like
dude,
World Cup?
yeah, these freaking events that they have down here in Florida, like at Bradenton, and Orlando, and like the big 3 tracks down there. What's the other one in Georgia? SGMP. Like, I see all these badass radial races that look like a great time. Like, I want to participate. That's all I'm saying. And the most entry-level class appears to me to be limited 235. And my car just so happens to fucking love a radial. That's all I'm saying.
It does love a radio, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't have to do anything to it besides throw a radial on it, and all of a sudden, the car's great.
Yeah.
So
That's because it separates fast, you know? It's a stock Mustang style suspension with a short upper bar.
right.
What do you want to do, Allison? What kind of racing do you want to do?
Oh gosh.
She gonna get a Hemi.
Yes. I don't know. I think
Have
I'm
you
leaning
told
more
everybody
towards-
that you're getting a Texas speed motor yet?
No, I
Not
don't
really.
think so.
We've hinted at it in a post, but that's it.
Breaking
Yeah.
news.
Yeah,
Breaking
the-
news.
Texas Speed Gen 3 Hemi.
Yep, when we go down to Yellow Belly in April, I'm dropping off my block and heads to Texas Speed, and they're going to put together a Hemi for me. So I don't think my car is going to do very well on a lot of no prep stuff. Maybe some front side. So I'm kind of leaning towards some radial stuff.
Right.
I've been having a lot of fun going to new styles of just different types of racing, and I don't know. I don't know where I fit in yet. I'm
Drag and
still
drive.
figuring it out. I
Probably do
love the
850.
drag and drives.
I do 850 in drag and drive.
Yep.
I love it. I'm definitely having a blast with the drag and drives. I wish I would have taken it more serious this year. I figured I would just try to survive my first one, and then
You're
I
the
got
only
tired
one
of
of
going
us
slow.
have a world record, so you must be doing something right.
Well, yeah, that wasn't me though. Just got lucky.
That's
Shut
not
up.
luck.
It's a little bit luck.
It's hard damn work.
I'm
You
gonna
need
give
start
all the
swinging
credit to
your dick a little
Tony.
more.
Don't do that.
I'm a world record holder, bitch.
I give credit to Tony on that one, because I definitely wouldn't have done that without him.
So
But
here's the thing, man. We have to follow you around. Like, you're picking where the
You don't
races
have
are.
to.
I mean, but we would like to all still race together. That's how we make the
we're
most
all
amount
a
of
little
content.
lost right now. We don't know what we're doing.
So if we're following you around, we need to build cars that fit in races that you're trying to go to. So True Street is our best chance. So I would like to set the dart up for True Street personally. It ain't gonna be a daily driver.
No, not daily driver.
There's not enough of those
I
classes
just don't know.
anyways. I was thinking Little Gangsters, True Street.
The Dart doesn't have enough front end travel.
No.
But most, if we go to the front sides, like, it don't matter as much. Radials. Fast.
Radials.
Don't
The
need
Dart
radials.
does this when it leaves.
Perfect. I know, that's what I'm saying.
Radials.
That's why we're trying to get you into radio racing.
Radials.
Yep.
So we can all just do it.
We've been slowly trying to convert you.
I'll do some radial stuff. That Camaro can do radial stuff. The Nova can do radial stuff. It fits in LDR.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. I like watching you guys
So
go fast.
basically,
I
we're-
want to participate.
We're about to build a car and we don't even know what we're going to do with it.
No, I have no idea what I'm going to do. That's
we
a
need
problem.
to figure this out like before
I don't know.
we
I
leave
don't
this
feel like I
podcast.
found my spot yet. But I'm definitely leaning more towards the radial stuff.
Well, we ain't bracket
it's just
racing.
fun. No, not bracket racing.
That car won't make a good no prep car.
I don't think so. We'd have to.
So
No, it
we
just
need to go
won't.
find a new car, is what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying I'll do a little bit more radial stuff. That way you guys can race it at radial events. We can all go to radial stuff.
I think a lot of the tracks we're racing on now are front sides. and
I
don't
had
think
a
it's gonna
great
matter.
time at the Christmas tree race.
Me too.
Stuff like that. Quarter mile radial stuff is really fun to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing is I love quarter mile. It's
Stuff
so
like
much fun.
Texas 2K, FL 2K, World Cup, Christmas tree race, stuff like that is fun. I'd like to do all those.
Chris, what's your favorite events so far that you've been to us with?
I mean, the Christmas tree race is fun. I'm a backside street guy
Oh,
till the day I die. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know. Just the rail stuff just doesn't do it for me. I don't know.
Because you ain't driven one. I'm going to throw you in the Falcon and put you on a
I haven't. And I really haven't drove anything else either. So,
Oh, I'll make your wheelie wet.
Okay.
oh boy.
All right.
I'll wet your whistle one time.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. I like the gangster shit.
I like it all, man.
That's-
I like the street racing. I like backside, but I don't like it that much. It's probably the lowest on my thing. I don't like seeing the big wings and the butthurt bars and all that stuff. It's just kind of makes me twitch a little bit.
The room's spinning because of the gayness.
Yeah,
that stuff doesn't bother. I mean, personally, that stuff doesn't bother me.
that's where the money's at, though.
Yep.
And you don't have to lean on your shit as hard.
Doesn't bother me. I'm just not going to do it to my car. I'd rather switch glasses because I don't want to deal with it.
I get it.
So, but like, I see why other people are doing it. Other people got to
they're
do what they got to
smart
do to
for
win.
doing it.
It's not. It's just like back in the day. I mean, you've seen what some of these guys did. back in the day of drag racing.
The damn gassers. Somebody came out with one of those nowadays. Be like, what the fuck are you doing? But like, they did wild shit like that back then.
I like the diversity of just the different stuff that you see people do, and you're like, man, I would have never thought of that. Because guess what? Most of us would have never thought of that.
I think a lot of us thought of it, just none of us wanted to do it because it's like, I don't want to be the first one to come out there with a butthurt bar. And then Joey did it, and then it was like, okay, everybody else is going to do it now.
I think the S10 could still be competitive in backside, but like I said, it needs a lot of different stuff. And it may not need a full tube chassis. It might just be it needs a 4-link in the rear and some updates. And maybe, get the dump valves working, get the converter loosened up because it's really tight for backside. But it boils down to testing and just a little changes here and there and just chip away at it. We could add one of those big stupid wings to it. We could add a butthurt bar if we need to.
Sucks.
It also sucks being
Losing.
3 cars
Losing.
behind.
Yeah. What do you reckon we do about this dart? What do you think we should do? I don't
Well,
know.
y'all don't street race, so
No.
there's that. You don't like backside, so there's that.
I don't hate backside.
And front side, no prep. It might go down, but it needs more front end travel for sure.
It'll
'Cause-
probably have more travel now that we're getting rid of the torsion bars and we're putting a QA1K member in those coilovers, but still, it's probably only like 5 inches.
It needs like 7.
How about 14?
Yeah.
God.
Here's the problem is like
The goofy truck.
the goofy truck. Mopars just, everything's so much more complicated. There's less aftermarket and, from the factory, yes, they didn't have a lot of front end travel, but then you got a Mustang that has a lot, and it's like you're competing with a lot of Mustangs, and you're just like, what the hell do I do? Because you can't, True Street, you have to retain all of the. I mean, you
How
can't
hard would it be to put a Mustang strut on that car?
I mean, then it breaks the rules, right, Chris? Right? I mean,
It's a stock suspension unless you move the location.
If you move the strut towers, but you put like a aftermarket strut cup in the top to accept the Mustang strut.
It's
Could you do
it's
that?
still in the stock location. As long as you
we just
don't,
got to
Oh,
talk
boy.
Jeff
as
into
long
it.
as you don't move the location of the way it's set up from the factory, it's fine.
There's no way we'll ever do that.
Maybe.
I'm all for it. I
We'll
love
look
front
into
end
it.
travel, but there's
Listen,
no way that
we've already seen what Jeff will allow. I mean,
it took a lot of sweet talking. But I mean, if Mike does it, and we don't make Jeff do it, like, hey Jeff, let's put this on Jeff's plate. Like if we talk Mike into it, since he's doing the K member.
It is my car. I can make
What-
decisions.
I know, yeah, but if that was an option,
don't
do you want to
know.
do it?
Absolutely. I mean,
We'll have to look at it and see what we can do. Because I mean,
it
he's
would be
right.
nice. It would be nice to be able to run some of the no preps. So, because that's what we do most of the time. And I love filming, but
But you're not interested in small tire.
no, I'm not interested in small
Small
tire
tire's
at all.
gotten way too out of
No,
hand.
no, not at all. I'm more interested in True Street, but it would be nice to race at some of the same places you guys do.
We got a lot of decisions to make,
Yep.
a lot of money to spend.
Yep.
Got to keep doing factor ads.
Yep.
so the other question that everybody keeps asking every video: what's the status on the Camaro?
So the Camaro is at the wiring shop right now, and I got an update on it yesterday that it's coming along really well. And April 9th, it's going to the dyno. it's got a dyno session set up there in Lexington at Victory Wiring, I believe. They have a hub dyno there. So we may be going to watch that thing on the dyno as soon as April 9th.
Cool.
What?
This one's already tube chassis.
You knock it off.
See? See,
Stop
look,
it.
it's
Knock
already
it off.
it's already tube chassis.
Put it back.
Thomas,
Already
you're
got
done.
one.
Stop.
It's right there. That's how you do it right there. There's the model. We'll just send that to 10 soldiers. I want it just like that. They'll get you tuned up.
You're done.
So if you like this, make sure you say, hey, you guys should probably do some more podcasts.
And,
We're gonna try.
We need to get some newer equipment. So
Yeah.
this is easier to set
Maybe
up.
some better mic stands and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But if you like this, let us know what you liked, what you don't like, what we should change, and we'll take it into consideration.
And we'll try and do more of them, but it's tough. It takes a long
It's
time to edit
not.
podcasts and everything.
We
And
just
We need to stick to a schedule of what's hard is getting guests and planning that stuff out.
yeah, but a lot of times, like after events, or we have so many things to talk about. Usually, like us four could sit down and do this, every week and have something to talk about.
At least you have the RV now, so like say we're at a race or something like that, you could just interview somebody in the RV.
More equipment I gotta pack up. Sucks.
The possibilities are endless.
Well,
I appreciate you guys listening. Leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
thank you guys for watching.
See you
Goodbye.
later.
goodbye.